Hi, my name is Jeremy Osborne, and I was the director of photography on The Big Ugly. When I first received the script for The Big Ugly, I was really inspired for the potential it had for some really interesting visuals. There was a scene that was written on a private jet. The scene was really intimate, but I thought that it could really set the stage for something moody, film noir, almost love scene set on an airplane with just pools of light coming through windows. I've always been an amateur student of history and art historian, and one of the painters that popped into my head while reading the script was Fabian Perez. Dark imagery, very intimate moments of people in pain, but there's always something more to those people when you're looking at them. This film has such a thematically dark storyline. It definitely felt like it had a 70s feel to it. One of the films that popped into my mind was The Deer Hunter. Once I started talking with Scott, we both realized that we were on the same page of being fans of early Clint Eastwood movies, Clint Eastwood riding on horseback, and the back of him is lit by the sun, and then the foreground element has just gone completely black. It was really bold visual storytelling where they weren't afraid to let blacks go black and darks go dark. The darkness would almost be another character in the film. All of the characters are shrouded in darkness. What starts as a dark moment gets darker, and these characters go further and further and deeper. The movie ends in this moment of hope and light. We purposefully visually peppered light throughout the movie. We had all these great locations lined up for us in Kentucky that was doubling as West Virginia. We jumped straight into location scouting, and the very first day I flew in, Scott and I just spent an entire day driving around looking at locations and digesting the story and the themes and how we could create those images that I had pictured while reading the script and that Scott has pictured for years while creating this story and translating it into tangible locations. That's a really exciting part of the process. And then bringing in all the other crew and the production designer and the gaffer, making sure that everybody's on the same page. This was actually the first film filmed on the brand new at the time Red Gemini camera. I really was excited about using those cameras because of their newer low light capabilities. Being a film that was gonna have large portions of it take place at night, I really wanted to play with low light and being able to augment natural light and sculpt light in minute ways. Instead of sending one gigantic light high up in the air, I could send up multiple small lights. With the new technology, you're able to work with a lot lower base light and then tweak it from there. So we were able to use brand new camera technology, but we really wanted the look of the film to resemble some of those great 60s and 70s films. I proposed shooting the film on Russian anamorphic lenses that have great characteristics where the image isn't always perfect, and it's in those imperfections that you get some of the beauty that they had. It's those unique little characteristics that made those films what they were, and so we really wanted to replicate that with this film. One of my initial visual references was a slightly more impressionistic painting. The way that the anamorphic lenses render the background and sort of the background stretches out and almost looks like impressionistic brushstrokes in the background. I felt like it was the best choice possible for this film. I would say that Scott Weiper's approach to making a movie is really similar to Robert Altman's. He would give the space to the actors and they would organically come up with where the actors are going to move. Initially, it might play out different than we would have thought going in because the actor would have come up with something that would have changed it in a way, and I might have one idea and then I'd discuss that with Scott. We would have a general idea of how it might play out, but we were always very open to however things might change and change on set. As Scott and I talked about, we would plan and plan and plan to have a plan to deviate from. We ended up with a very great, spontaneous, organic product that the actors were really engaged and involved in crafting each scene as much as Scott or I or the AD were. When I was in 8th grade, I saw Clockwork Orange for the first time, and I can honestly say that that movie changed my life. It just clicked something in my brain that movies can be something totally different, put me on the path to becoming a filmmaker. One of my movie nerd moments was I actually tracked down a specific lens that Stanley Kubrick had used on A Clockwork Orange so that we could film Malcolm McDowell with the same lens that Stanley Kubrick did. It was a really amazing experience.